from the Russ Center for Media in downtown Cape Girardeau. Welcome to Focus on Southeast, a program on issues, events, and people impacting Southeast Missouri State University. I'm Dan Woods with KRCU Public Radio. On today's show, we will explore SEMO's Institute for Cybersecurity and learn about reducing cases of asthma in Southeast Missouri. SEMO's Institute for Cybersecurity prepares students for real-world experiences by immersing them in the industry of cybersecurity, research, and related fields of study. I'm joined now by Dr. Mario Garcia. He's director of the Institute for Cybersecurity. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for the invitation, for being here. Appreciate that.
So start off, if you would, Dr. Garcia, by telling us about the cybersecurity program here at Southeast.
We have the Bachelor of Science in Cybersecurity, and also 4 years ago we started the Master of Science in Cybersecurity. Both programs are part of the Computer Science Department, that is the fastest growing department in the university. Now we have more than 1,000 students enrolled in computer science and cybersecurity. So it's by far the fastest growing in the department in the university. It's an area that is interesting to students.
Yeah, and you came in, 2019, I think, something like that. You've been with the university, 4 years almost now?
Yeah, January 2020, so I'm finishing 4 years.
Okay. And when I was reading about your background, you did research focused on applications of AI to cybersecurity. Talk a little bit about your research. I was curious about that.
Right. My PhD is from Texas A&M in artificial intelligence and software engineering in 1997. I started teaching courses in software engineering and artificial intelligence. But in 2002, while I was working at Texas A&M University Corpus Christi, I got an invitation, capacity building program for faculty to learn cybersecurity, and it was in Carnegie Mellon. So I spent one summer there in Carnegie Mellon with the best researchers and professors in cybersecurity. The following year, I attended a similar program at Purdue University. And I fell in love with the area of cybersecurity. From there, I went to Stanford, Berkeley, Rochester, and keep learning in cybersecurity. So since then, since 2002, my main area now is cybersecurity. And I use my background on artificial intelligence and software engineering, and I combine both in applications to cybersecurity. And a specific example is intrusion detection, intrusion prevention of attacks to computer networks, where we use artificial intelligence techniques like neural networks, fuzzy logic, genetic algorithms to prevent attacks. So it's a good match of the combination of my expertise.
So you said you fell in love with cybersecurity. What do you love about it? What was it so attractive to you? What did you really enjoy?
That's a good question. I think, as I mentioned, my background in artificial intelligence was specifically working on expert systems to create systems that help humans to solve problems, transfer the expertise of a human into this expert system, and then the expert system was used for people to solve complex problems. When I started learning cybersecurity, I found that the area of intrusion detection was based on also rules-based. And I said, well, I can apply my background in artificial intelligence to detect attacks. But then as I learned more, I really like the area of computer forensics. That is a course different to other courses, because the idea here is when there is an attack to a computer network, we need to find if someone that did the attack is guilty or not. And we need to prove that in a court of law. So we need to follow a procedure that we don't contaminate the evidence. And I really like that. I think it make the area very attractive.
Talk a little bit about just the need for trained folks to watch out for these attacks. It's something that happens more than we would probably like with government systems and maybe power and water systems. Being able to prevent attacks is very important, right?
Right. Well, there are, I remember when I started learning cybersecurity, as I said, more than 20 years ago. At that time, there were other countries attacking the United States infrastructure, business, institutions on a daily basis. So since then, those attacks have grown exponentially. So now we joke that there are two types of companies. The companies that have been hacked and the companies that they don't know that they've been hacked. So that's why it's very important to create awareness in the community so people know how to detect some of the common attacks and prevent those continuous phishing attacks, emails attacks that hackers, the bad guys, use to compromise a user, steal his information or her information, or steal from a company what they do, like if they make cars, or they try to steal what they do. So it's a continuous millions of attacks per day.
Yeah. Speaking of bringing awareness to cybersecurity, you told me before we went on the air that there's a Excel grant, there's an opportunity with IBM that the university has. Tell us about that, if you would.
Yes, this is very exciting times for our community, for our students mainly, for our faculty, for, as I said, for the community. The state of Missouri gave the university $1.3 million or $1.6 million to create cybersecurity awareness in the community. So President Vargas, about a year ago or more than that, he asked me to investigate facilities that the objective was to create cybersecurity awareness. So I found one in IBM in Cambridge that is a cyber range, a state-of-the-art facility, and another in Rochester that is similar to the one in Cambridge. So I attended both. I attended presentations in both cyber range, and President Vargas authorized to the construction of a similar facility in our campus. There are 6 facilities in the world similar to what we are going to have. We expected to have finished the cyber range, cyber command center at the end of the year, but some delays occur, and it's going to be mid-March. The estimated cost of the project is more than $2 million. So President Vargas found a donor, and now we have the money, we have the contract in place, and we are going to have this state-of-the-art facility to create cybersecurity awareness. And we are going to start with CEOs to create cybersecurity awareness from the top, so that the CEOs know and learn the importance of cybersecurity. And instead of paying a ransom of an attack, they invest in cybersecurity and protect against those attacks. But this facility will be unique in Missouri, will be unique in the nation, and we expect to have even international reached in other countries also.
That's exciting. I want to ask you about the cyber range. What is the cyber range?
The cyber range is a collection of servers and processors that students use mainly to train for the cyber defense competition. In the cyber range, actually, we have 1,500 cores. One core is the CPU, the memory equivalent in one computer. Well, some computers now, they have 2 or 3. But we have a mini supercomputer with 1,500 processors that students use in the cyber defense team to simulate the scenarios, the networks that they will find in the cyber defense competition. Probably you are aware that for 10 years in a row, the cyber defense team got first place in the state. So they use the cyber range to remotely access those networks to train defending a computer network. Also, the cyber range is used to, especially during COVID, that faculty had to teach labs, hands-on labs. Students and faculty could remotely connect to this mini supercomputer and do the labs, the hands-on labs required in a class. And another use is by faculty to do research in projects that are complex, that requires a lot of processing capacity. And it's not only for computer science or cybersecurity faculty, some math faculty that they need to do some complex computations, or business faculty, they use also the cyber range for research.
So it's basically just a big supercomputer is really what it is.
It's a mini supercomputer. It's in the low category of the supercomputers, but that's exactly right.
Interesting. Okay, so for students who get a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity, what can they do with that degree? What kind of jobs could they get?
Well, this it's an interesting question that we need to propagate the jobs that cybersecurity students propagate with our students, where they can find a job. There are 64 different jobs that the National Institute of Standards define for cybersecurity students, from software security, network analysts, network defenders, forensics analysts, forensics investigators. So there are 64 different types of jobs that students can find a job, and the job market is very high. We have students who graduated in the last 2-3 years that got six-figure salaries, starting with an undergrad in cybersecurity, because the demand is very high. There are, I believe, 650,000 jobs that needs to be occupied. So the demand is huge.
How challenging is it for the professors in computer science, cybersecurity, and for the students to keep up with, because things have to change all the time with this sort of technology. How do you keep up with all of the changes and share those with the students?
Right. This is and that is another reason that I love this area. This continuous evolving. There are or new attacks by hackers and new defense by research people in this area. But with the continuous advancement of technology, computers that are cheaper, more powerful, the mobile devices, we need to keep up with how to defend, how to protect this variety of devices, from cell phones to computers, supercomputers, and now autonomous vehicles, autonomous secure vehicles navigation, intelligent homes. So we need to keep continuously training. And for that, also, I need to say that our programs are accredited by ABET and also designated as Center of Academic Excellence by the National Security Agency. Being designed as a Center of Academic Excellence by NSA has a lot of good repercussions for our students, for our faculty with grants. But one of the main objectives of these programs is to keep faculty up to date in new applications. Just last summer, another faculty and I took one of the most recent and relevant courses on autonomous vehicles navigation and security, from the space shuttle to autonomous cars. So it's we need to keep updating our curriculum and removing courses that are not relevant and adding the courses that the industry expects and demands.
Always changing. Dr. Garcia, thank you so much for being here with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Yes. When we come back, we'll be talking with Dr. John Kraemer to talk about reducing cases of asthma in Southeast Missouri. You're watching Focus on Southeast. We'll be right back.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Welcome back to Focus on Southeast. Missouri has an asthma problem, especially among children. Dr. John Kraemer is on the front lines working to address issues of air quality to make breathing easier for those suffering with asthma. He's Director of Environmental Science and CEO of the Institute for Environmental Health Assessment and Patient-Centered Outcomes. John, good to see you again. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here and talk about this important topic.
Yeah, I think we visited. It's been several years ago now. So, tell us what's new with your work.
Well, we have continued to visit our pediatric patients and also some adults, but our program has kind of evolved since COVID. We have instituted some changes that actually has increased the participation rate, so we're very happy about that.
Yeah, that's good.
It makes people more interested, I think, in getting someone to come into their home, which is sometimes a difficult prospect, but when you can introduce changes that will help make their children better, they're willing to let you come in. So we've made those kinds of changes. We have become a center now for this state, but also serves Indiana and Illinois. But it is the only CDC-funded call center or referral center where doctors, nurses, respiratory therapists, nurse practitioners, even parents can refer the child to us, and it comes via HIPAA secure, so we can then contact out to them. And like I say, it's the only one it's in the nation, and we're very proud of that.
We said Missouri has an asthma problem. Do you have a sense of some of the numbers? What's some of the data tell us about asthma in Missouri?
Well, we know that in Missouri, if we just look at Medicaid cases, right, there's over 17,000 children who are severe, persistent asthmatics.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't include all those who have private insurance, who have the same problems, and those that we haven't even identified. We had an asthma day in the park. We had a couple thousand people come, and in that couple thousand people, we found 90 undiagnosed children with severe persistent asthmatics that were unknown. So we're able to get them into treatment to help them have better lives.
So when you go into homes, and I know you're sort of a private investigator in many cases, you're trying to find out what's causing the air quality issues. What are some of the most common things you see when you do these visits?
Carpeting is a big one. A lot of folks have the old shag carpet, right?
Yeah.
But even some of the thinner carpeting is very good at harboring dust mites, pollens, molds, and maybe it grows underneath. That's a big one. I could give you a good example.
Okay.
We went to someone's home, and where she had twin daughters, and where there's two played together, they said every time they sit there, they seem to get sick. They always have an asthma attack.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, let's see what's over here. And it looked very nice. The house was very clean. It looked very nice, but it was carpeted, and it's in the basement where you could tell where water would come down the hillside and run into the back door. Well, it would flood through and get the carpet wet. And it just so happened that it had come as far as where the kids sat. So as we peeled back the carpet, it was very black and blue and purplish colors, some yellow thrown in. And it was all asthma right where they sat. So every time that they would play, they would just stir up the spores, and they would inhale them, and they would have the reaction to that. So molds, carpeting, that's a biggie, especially in southeast Missouri. There's a lot of molds.
Oh, yeah.
At one time during the 60s, the Cape Girardeau area, believe it or not, was one of the 5 worst places to be in the United States because of molds.
Really?
Yeah, because it used to be underwater. So then we drained it, right? So now the molds come back when it rains. But But that's a big problem. Pets are another problem, and it's hard to convince people that they don't need their pet.
That Fluffy's causing the problem.
Exactly right. So that's a conversation that you can have, and you can help them come up with other alternatives. It's not just about you have to get rid of Fluffy.
Yeah. Well, I know all the work you do, and I asked you, how do you do everything? Because you teach here at the university, and you're doing this program too. But one of the things that you all have been doing is training folks to help do the work that you do. Tell us about that, how that works.
Absolutely. We have been able to go around the state and even gone to Illinois with community health workers, and in Indiana we're dealing with folks who work for the Department of Health. But here in Missouri we're training community health workers, we train physicians, we train nurses, respiratory therapists, all those folks in how to do assessments for their patients. Some will go out into their homes. So some of the hospitals actually train some of their staff to go out to do like we do.
Yeah.
So that's great. And it's really building the capacity across state so that it's not just calling Dr. Kraemer's office, it's about calling, we know, and we can then go out to the capacity builders out here and say, would you like to do these first? We give them the opportunity. So we can touch more people, make it happen faster. We even have some NGOs who non-government organizations who participate, and they get money back for making these visits. But like someone who does weatherization, not only do they go out to do the asthma and give us the information, they can also weatherize a house, which makes it a better environment for the people who live there. So, having the right combinations of skills to do this can really facilitate a faster response to the needs of the people.
Are there folks sometimes who they just say, oh, our house has always been kind of dusty, we all kind of cough, it's just always been that way, but maybe if they were to call and have you come out, there may be something there that can actually be eliminated, taken care of, right?
Absolutely. We see that all the time where folks you say, it's always been like this. Well, it doesn't have to always be like that, right? If we can get in and ask the right questions and help them to come up with very low cost or no cost alternatives to some of those triggers that are making their kids have asthma, then we do that while we're there.
Yeah.
That's part of our service.
Yeah, and I'm guessing some people might think, well, I don't want to try to call and bring folks in. It's going to cost a lot of money, but that's not necessarily the case. And sometimes it can be things that you just go in and through observation, you learn a lot and can also sometimes just by seeing what the situation is, find an alternative that's low cost and many or no cost, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the things that we try to do is we see so many folks who are on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale and they need all the help they can get and they have no money. So one of the good things I think we've done is put together teams of people who can help. And if we contact them, if they have any kind of resources to give us, we get those so we can give them back to the patients. So that's a big thing, is trying to work together to help minimize costs. And sometimes it's no cost, right? You can just say, here's some simple things that you need to do at home. We also do these kinds of things at schools. We get a lot of requests from schools to come in and say, we have bad air, right? So what does that mean? So we can go in and try to figure out where maybe that is occurring, who it's affecting, and maybe that's why students are saying that they're not feeling well, or teachers, right, or other staff members. And we try to come up with solutions to that are low cost, because school districts don't have a lot of money sometimes too, especially in rural areas. So we try to be fruitful with the dollars they have to spend.
Yeah.
So.
Post-COVID and during COVID, a lot of schools and businesses upgraded HVAC, and a lot of them started using more of the purifiers that sit in there. I mean, that's probably helped in some cases for some of these situations, just because those are present now and they've been there since.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen a lot of those in schools across the state of Missouri, and they are very, very good at filtering out the particulates out of the air that can act as triggers. The good thing there is they're keeping them up to date. They're changing out the filters. They're making sure that it's placed in the right area and it's sized for the right size of room. Right. You know, because sometimes we'll find some great big ones in a little bitty room, and little bitty ones in a great big room. You got to kind of swap them out, but we can help them.
Before we went on, you talked a little bit about how, you could have a pet at home. Some of that dander gets on your coat. You bring it to school, and you maybe share a locker with somebody. Talk about how these things can just sort of maybe show up in unexpected places and in unexpected ways.
Okay. Well, that's a good one. Pet dander is an excellent example. I suspect if we tested everybody that was around us right now,
Okay.
we would find pet dander or cat dander on them. It's ubiquitous, it's everywhere. So what can happen is that, let's just say I have a child who has asthma and you don't,
Okay.
but they go to the same school and they share a locker. So when they hang sweaters or coats or books or book backpacks or whatever that goes in there, then those things will transfer over, and maybe that's all it takes to be able to create an asthma attack in a child. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
That can also happen on the school buses. One of the things that we're looking at now is we have air purifiers that are very small and very lightweight, and we're testing them now. And our hope is that when children are riding on the bus who have triggers that bother them when they're riding on the bus to school, they can take that, clip it to their backpack, and they can take it with them. It clears out about 40 square feet of air. The filters are good for about 2,500 hours. And we're finding with the few that we've done so far, we've done about 20 of them, and we're finding that it reduces the particulates in the air on that school bus by 85 to 90%, which is pretty darn good in the real world. And so far, I'll knock on wood, we haven't had any children who participate in this and have actually had asthma attacks as resulting in being on the bus. So it helps them breathe while they're on the bus. It keeps the air clean. And they could also take that with them to school, as you were talking about with the air cleaners. They could place that on their desk. It's rechargeable with a USB cord, and it can run all day, and they can use it as they need it.
And it's helping them and maybe others around them too who may have issues. If it's doing a 40 square foot.
Absolutely. Right? Their children sitting next to them.
So we got about a minute here. So tell folks how they can contact you all and how they can get help if they need it.
Okay, well, the easy way is we have the referral network. It's called Asthma Bridge. So if you just went to asthmabridge.com, it would come up. And you just request an environmental visit. If you fill that out with the information, it pops to us directly, and then we will contact you to schedule it.
All right. John, it's always good to visit with you. Thanks for being here today.
Same here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Focus on Southeast is a collaboration of KRCU Public Radio and the Department of Mass Media here at Southeast Missouri State University. Just a reminder that portions of these conversations will be broadcast on KRCU Public Radio and will also be available online at krcu.org and on the station's YouTube channel. From the Russ Center for Media, I'm Dan Woods. Thanks for watching. Be sure to join us next time for Focus on Southeast.